Hello, Cancer. Thank you very much for tuning into your love read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Thelema Tarot by Renata Lechner. For the supportive oracle cards, the magical spell cards by Lucy Cavendish. Already shuffled. Going to do relationship first, single second, and oracle cards come out where needed. It's upside down or right side up? Upside down. The Hanged Man upside down. A lot of times I feel like you're at the end of this cycle. You're at the end of a moment where you've felt stuck and you're getting to let go. It's finally getting to that point where you're just like, you're at the edge of the diving board and it's kind of like it's up to you to finally let go. But it's at the end of a cycle where you couldn't do anything or you felt like you couldn't do anything. That's how I'm interpreting this. That's how it feels to me. And I know this card is okay. So sometimes this card refers to Capricorns. The Devil card is the challenge card. Ironically, and I'm not going to say all the time, but more than not, Cancer and Capricorn, that if you ever seen the movie War of the Roses with Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas, like, they're very lovable people. And they love the people around them, love them. They love the people around them, but they get at each other and they just slowly drive each other insane until they just are at each other's throats. Not always, but it seems to be the stereotypical connection. So when I see this card come in, and sometimes it's Capricorn, I feel like they're talking about this relationship. There may be a very conflicted, rough moment here. I'm getting a couple really rough cards pulling in. If this is connecting, if we're going there right off the bat, I feel like you're both actually good people. You just might not be good for each other. But you know this. If it's been a toxic time the whole time and it just seems to get worse and worse over the years or over the time you've been together, I feel like this is clearly what that's saying to you. If you're like, no, there's good times and we get along, just once in a while we don't get along, ignore that first part. All right, so we're going into this. You've got decisions you need to make. That's where I feel like this is the big thing. Regardless of that first part I talked about, if this is going to hit with you, you have decisions you need to make. And I feel like they're upsetting you. Because you're coming up with these decisions that you have to make. You've got the Fool card here. You're hoping there's a good way to work this out. I'm getting the Fool card like you're hoping to find an answer to where this will smooth out and it won't be as rough as it looks like. It's like you're looking out there at the seas. It looks very rough and choppy, but you're hopeful like maybe it'll calm down. Maybe it's on its way out. Maybe a cool breeze or maybe some sunshine will come in and that'll just kind of smooth out. That's what you're hoping for. I feel like you see it more for the truth when you're seeing those choppy seas, knowing it's going to be rough going forward. As we keep going forward, I'm getting your partner actually communicating to you what they want. It seems unrelated to the choices you have to make. I'm actually getting your partner come forward with the Queen of Swords. I almost feel like you're actually dropping hints that you have choices coming forward. And that you have to do this or you have to do that. You're trying to bring it forward. I don't feel your partner really clicking in with it. I feel them talking and telling you what they need to do. I feel them the stronger communicator, telling you about what's coming forward for them. And I feel this is just creating more weight on these decisions, creating more weight on what you have to handle and what you have to do, making that stormy sea, the choppy sea up front look a little bit worse. You're still hoping it's going to smooth out, but you're like, oh, this doesn't look good. So what I see coming forward, and this is very, like at the same time, like you're coming forward, you're explaining what you have to do next. I feel like you're moving forward. You had to make a decision. I don't feel you including your partner in the decision-making process, but I do feel like when you're ready to move forward, it's just kind of like, well, this is what I have to do. This is what is on my agenda. I don't feel like you're talking about the decision-making process. This is you've already made the decision and you've actually started moving forward. That's when you include your partner in it. I feel like that's what you had to do for whatever you're dealing with. I just feel like you're like looking at it like this is how I need to do this so this works out. what I'm feeling on your partner's side is judgment. Judgment is being handed down. I'm not always, just because it's right side up doesn't mean I'm in anybody's favor. It's just mean the judgment has been made. Just because it's here, it's just saying judgment has been made. Your partner seems to have already made their own decisions. They're doing something that they have to do. Your decisions are coming in. These are not jiving. Judgment has been made, and your partner seems to be very kind of like, well, I know what I'm doing. You got to do what you got to do. This feels a bit conflicting. I feel your partner with the Ten of Wands, they made a decision. You made a decision. I don't feel them jiving. I feel like them holding up their whole, like whatever they chose to do, they're doing it all on their own. It's weird. I feel like this is just each of you going forward with what you feel you need to do at this point. I feel like there's, oddly enough, a lack of, I don't want to say communication, but a lack of understanding what the other's saying, or a lack of investing or listening to the other person. I don't feel like you're hearing each other. I don't feel like you're truly hearing each other. Like, you may be hearing the words and understanding they're talking to you and responding to the words being said to you, vice versa. I just don't feel it being absorbed. Like when somebody says, next Tuesday I'm going to get on the boat because I have to go on this trip. I'm going to be gone for a week. It's like, okay, I understand that. And just kind of like, yeah, you're going to be gone for a week. But not sinking it in like, oh, you know, that next weekend when you're going to be away, I needed you for this, that, and the other thing. Like not sinking it in that deeply. Just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, you're gone. But not sinking in what that really means. That's what I'm getting at. Because I just feel like you're not your decisions are not jiving. And you're talking to each other, but you're not listening really. And I just don't feel like it's sinking in. That could go both ways. I feel like as this keeps going forward, you have to keep going with the path you chose. If they have negotiability on theirs, they're not willing to move. So you're moving forward. You made your decision. You're getting things done the way you have to. They seem to be, if they have the possibility to adjust, I feel like they're not willing to. And I'm getting the Five of Wands on their side. This is creating quite the fight is what I'm getting. I'm getting quite the fight. I'm getting a lot of arguing going on here. It does not feel fun in any sense. I feel like you're dealing with the choice you had to make. You've got the Three of Swords coming in. You're very upset about the situation. Everything seems to be a mess, but going very fast. It seems like a mess, but it's going fast. And it's just kind of like, it's kind of like when you start slipping down a muddy hill. It's just kind of like, even if you try to grab onto a branch, your hand's all muddy and you slip through that too. You're just going. The situation is already ahead. It's already going. There's no changing direction at this point. You're going to have to wait till you hit the bottom of the hill and then see what you can do at the bottom of the hill. You're slipping down this muddy slope. It's too late. You're very upset about how this is turning out. Your partner's having a fit is what I'm getting. It does not feel good. There you go. You're just going. I actually feel this is one of the situations where when you end up at the bottom of the muddy hill, I feel like that's when it's going to have to be resorted out. And your partner has the Five of Pentacles. You have the Empress. After you've slid down this hill, in other words, the situation is played out. The decision you made, you've played it out. It's done. You've done what you had to do. Or you, at the very least, have a moment where you can breathe and talk things out or maybe do something different. You're trying to. You got the Empress card here. Because I feel like you're looking back a little bit like, maybe I should have talked this out a little more. Maybe I should have kind of like worked a little bit more with my partner. I feel your partner, and I'm getting this, the challenge card again was the Devil card with them. I don't feel like they're, I feel like it's hard for them to see it your way or to kind of be sympathetic to your view. I especially with this Five of Pentacles, and it's in the spot that what helps. I feel like they're talking about how this affected them and how you made the decision and how that affected them. And it seems to be a lot about how it affected them. But for whatever reason, in this situation, it does seem to be balancing it. It's putting you in a power position to absorb and recalibrate the whole situation. For some of you, this is rare for your partner to do this, to talk about how it affected them and how this happened to them and what they had to deal with. If this is a very rare situation, you need to really capitalize on it, really promote it, and get that information out of them. That might be why the Empress is showing up on your side, especially if it's very rare for your partner to do that. Suck that information up, get it, get as much as you can, and promote them talking more. That might be the gift of this situation for you. For others of you, if this is more, on the other hand, a common occurrence, I feel like this is just where it puts you in the position to make more choices going forward, to see about their perception and what they think and how they feel and where they're coming from, and to be ready for it coming again in the future, to realize, like, I feel like you really need to evaluate. Is your partner constantly coming forward with how this is how it felt for me, this is what it did to me, this is what you did to me? Or is that a rare thing? If it's a rare thing, I feel like this works more to your advantage. If it's a more common thing, I'm getting the Empress is saying, see it for what it is. Maybe there's something else you need to glean from this situation. If it's always about your partner, if it's always how it affected them, maybe that's a red flag that you need to listen to a little closer and find out what's really behind that red flag. That seems like a harsh ending. Are we good? I really feel like this is half to one, 6 dozen to the other. Like, it's either going to be really good because you're going to have a very... You're in the power position at the end, so it's either really good, like your partner doesn't usually do this, and you get to promote and find out what they're thinking more. It could really be a good thing for you. But if it's something they constantly do, I feel like it's like, what is that red flag really? What type of relationship are you in really? So it's 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other. All right, I feel like we should let that go there. We didn't do any oracle cards for that one. I just realized that the energy just popped right off and we just went with it. That's okay. As long as we get the information out, that's what matters. All right, now we want to do Cancer singles. What do we have for Cancer singles? Information for single cancers. Information for single cancers. Information for single cancers. We had the 8 of Cups pop out upside down. Makes me feel like a lost opportunity, or maybe the lost opportunity coming back. That's my first impression. Let's go back. Let's go, yes. I really am, like, a lost opportunity coming back is my first thought. All right, match these up. All right, I do feel like it's a lost opportunity again. You, like Pisces, single Pisces anyway, have the Queen of Pentacles where you're standing. For you, I feel like you're looking for something you can count on. When it comes to this person and this lost opportunity in the past, you're not looking for a fling with this one. Whether you're open to that type of situation or not is, I don't feel like it's as relevant as with this person. It's either there or it's not. You're not into just a moment. And I feel like in the past, you've seen an opportunity that you thought passed by. It's something that you've thought about. But I feel like it's one of those things where it sits in your mind and you're like, I really should just let this go. Or this person crosses your mind and like, oh, no. That's a ship that sailed. But I also feel like it's somebody that you would prefer things went a little better with. But I feel like you kind of wrestle with the thought, like, yeah, I like that person, but, I got to stop thinking about that. That's a failed opportunity. That's kind of where I'm starting with this. Especially because you want something, when it comes to that type of person, it's just like a moment isn't enough. It's either there or it's not. You don't want a halfway. You don't want to be just kind of like friends that, maybe do a little more. You're like, no, that's not what I'm wanting. I want to move on from that. Because for this person, that's not going to be enough for me. Okay. Now, ironically, what comes forward next, and actually this is good, that person seems to be approaching you. And I'm getting the Knight of Cups here just so you have more backup for this. They're coming forward with the 10 of Swords and the Trust. They're aware that you're not overly impressed with them for whatever reason. You're not really open to giving something a shot. You may even have the opinion, like, even if something starts, it'll just have a quick burnout. It'll be like a flash in the pan and it'll be gone, and that's not what you're interested in with this person. They seem to be coming forward with you, to you. The King of Swords is here telling you there's a very deep conversation, very direct though. It's not all mushy-mushy, it's very direct. Very deep conversation, but very direct conversation. This is where I stand, this is what I'm seeing from you. Tell me what you got. That type of thing. And I feel like they're addressing problems in the past, addressing maybe things about themselves that maybe they think you don't like. They're coming forward with this Ten of Swords because they really are hoping for another shot, is what I'm getting. And the trust is, like, they're opening their heart. They're just saying, this is what I got. This is what I got. This is what happened. This is what I'm hoping for. This is what I've been feeling. I want to know what you're feeling. The Ten of Swords with the trust is like kind of exposing their pain, is what I'm getting. You do have the King of Swords at the bottom, but you have the Emperor at the top. Direct communication. Deep communication. It is deep, but it's direct. With the Emperor, though, also on your side, you're not cold. I don't feel you very cold in this situation. I feel you very kind of like, there's only so much I'm going to put up with. There's only so much I'm willing to chance. You're not shutting the door, but you're just kind of like, well, there might be a sort of possibility here. You're acknowledging that you do have feelings for them. Wanting them or not is another thing, but you're acknowledging that they're there. And you're like, well, there's certain possibilities. There's certain chances here. Maybe I'll try this or that. Maybe we can negotiate this, but I feel like you're having a hard time getting there. You don't, it's kind of like, well, I got to sit on it. Let's talk about it. Maybe we can have coffee. Maybe we can have coffee. Maybe we can go to this event. And you're purposely setting things up to where things aren't going to go things aren't going to go somewhere that you don't want them to go. But you're kind of like, you know what? Maybe I feel like you're sitting in that spot with like, well, let's just see how far this lasts. Like I don't feel like you want to push it away, but you're like, let me give it a couple shots. Let me see if we can see each other every now and then, but we're not going to cross this line or that line. And let me just see if this person just kind of dissipates on their own. I feel like that'll be the proof of the pudding. That'll say, like, were they honest, like they really feel this way, or were they just giving me a line to try to get what they want? As things keep going forward, you got the Three of Cups with the imagination. I feel like this is actually, it's feeling good as a friendship. I don't feel like it's going forward too far romantically for most of you. But the imagination with the Three of Cups is like you're really getting along, but you're questioning, like, all right, we're getting along as friends. But if we step across that line, do we keep that? Or is that like kind of like the crescendo? Or like is that high note at the end of the symphony? Is that like a la, and that's it, we're done? What happens after that? And I feel like you're not totally confident that, you know, if things move over into the romantic arena, that it's going to continue in a good direction. I feel like you're very nervous. It could be like the last. That could be the finishing off of the situation, and bye. That's it. The way this ends is the Four of Pentacles with the Courage. I do feel like you hold on to this for a while. You don't move forward for a while. But you come to a point where you have to decide. You have to decide completely. I feel like it's completely you that has to decide this too. Do you want to leave it where it is? Do you want to just let it be a friendship and whatever happens, you know, the friendship can be whatever the friendship can be, but that's it? Or are you going to take this advice of courage and just step forward? Just step forward, because you're coming to that point where it's either make it a friendship or make it a relationship. It's coming in the future. You have to decide. The advice here is just like to bite the bullet and see what happens, because if you try, it doesn't work, it's done. If it works, then you get something great out of it. If you don't try, this is something that could linger on for a while and be in like a quasi spot. I just feel like it could be more complicated and it might cause problems down the road. You could have like one of those torn heart feelings, like this person you're not allowing yourself to go forward with, somebody else comes into your life, and then you start finding you have conflicting feelings between this person and this other person. That's like your warning. Like, They're saying take the courage, just jump forward, pass or fail, at least you know. If it lingers on, like, because it'll just kind of hang on, when somebody else comes into your life, you could have torn feelings and conflicted problems. It could cause more problems down the road that you don't really want. That seems to be the advice at the end of this. Are we good? All right, I think we're good with Cancer singles. So thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.